Well, welcome to the journey. My name is Kevin Polke, and I am the host of the journey. And typically, we have the opportunity to have guests come onto the show who share their story of transformation or how they may have had a setback in their life. And then what did they learn from that setback? Other times we'll have individuals on who may be um, through their own experience, they are working at making a difference within the community in which they live. And we have them come on the show and talk about not only their own journey, but then how are they in their new line of work or their new services that they're offering, how is this helping others transform along their journey? And then we have the opportunity sometimes to do reflections. And reflections are maybe something that I've either come across, something that I've read, something that maybe that I've experienced as of recently. And what I'd like to do right now is talk about an experience that I had just recently. And that experience, I was up at our lake home, and it was one of those summer evenings. I was walking our dog, and I would say it was probably around 11:30 at night, and there was a certain part of the lane that I was walking. There was a complete absence of any light. As I was walking down this road, um, trusting that I was walking straight ahead and our dog was guiding us um, to the clearing. Uh, I noticed a couple flickers of light, and then I saw a couple more flickers of light. I remembered a year ago, roughly around the same time, that I had been amazed at seeing um, a field full of fireflies. So there was a little bit of excitement as I was walking through this tunnel of darkness due to the canopy of trees that were covering the lane. As we walked through and got to the clearing, um, I noticed first um, how bright the sky was with the stars all over. There was no clouds in the sky. And so on this warm, non-human night, it seemed like the stars were close enough to be touched, and it was completely blanketing the entire night sky. As I got um, out of the lane and up to the road uh, that circles the lake, I looked across the field that I remembered a year ago looking at, and I watched fireflies dancing throughout the field. I'm not for sure how long I was there, mesmerized by how many fireflies were in the field. I noticed as I compared the fireflies in the field to the stars in the sky, and for a moment I thought maybe they're about the same. Of course, there was more stars than there was fireflies. As I continued to watch um, the fireflies dance, it almost reminded me, I almost wondered, as if in this dance, if there was almost like a nonverbal song that was um, being sung. It reminded me of an earlier time period in my life when uh, there would be sometimes light shows that would be to music, and that lights would go based upon certain beats of the music, and they would light up. Uh, as I'm watching this, I felt God's presence. quieting myself, quieting my thinking, and just the thoughts of the nature, of the warm breeze, the awe of the night sky along with the dancing fireflies. I'm not for sure if I was there for 15 minutes or 45 minutes, but time seemed to almost stand still. Eventually, I turned back and started walking back down the lane, back to the house. Everyone in the house was asleep. So the next morning, I shared with Diane what I had experienced. And as the evening grew, um, I invited her as well as Sierra and Sierra's boyfriend to come and get a glimpse of what I did, what I saw the night before. The night sky was similar, where we got to see all the stars. And as we turned the corner, it was a little bit cooler that night. And I noticed that even though there was some fireflies, there was nowhere near the amount from the night before. I thought to myself, was this because of it being cooler and not as warm? Wanting them to experience what I experienced the night before, I was a little disappointed that my expectations or my I probably overpromised and wasn't able to deliver. But I reflect on that as they, of course, enjoyed the fireflies that they did see and the night sky that they got to experience as well. Um, but I reflect on that, thinking to myself, it's those moments. First Friday night, by myself being out there with our dog, and that it is very, very hard to replicate those God moments to be the same type of intensity. Instead, that moment that I had with Diane and Kevin and Sierra was its own moment in itself, not to be compared to the previous night, but for itself to be its own moment. That my thoughts could be what would take me out of the moment that I'm experiencing. I think for me, Friday night being lost in the mesmerization of the night sky and the field of flies dancing was easy for me to let go of any thoughts. The next night, because I was thinking of the comparison, I had to take more effort to be present. I think that is my challenge for myself and my challenge to you about one, experiencing it when you can be present, and then taking the effort of letting go of our thoughts when we find ourselves not being present, regardless of its comparing or of some other negative thought that may be coming in, or a thought that we consider negative because something isn't happening or something is happening. Being excited about the possibility of what a morning uh, has for us, or a night sky is going to reveal to us, I think is all okay. But most importantly, to make sure that you're present in the now so that you can experiencing right now as you're preparing for some time in the future. As always, I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate any feedback, and appreciate you passing this particular episode on to someone that may need to hear it as well. Again, thank you for being here today, and I look forward to being with you next week.